This conference will now be recorded.
All righty. Uh-oh. Okay, you can see I'm doing something I haven't done before. So I'm having little challenges. Give me a minute to get back there. There we go. Okay, so welcome you to the call today and to help you reclaim your life. This is a really exciting and important time for us in the world. There's so many things going on. There's so many challenges. And I decided that this is my time to step up and talk about authenticity. People are talking about how important it is to live an authentic life and be your authentic self. And that's what I do. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So while everybody in the world is telling you to put on your mask, what I'm encouraging you to do is take off your mask. Because we all wear masks, whether we know it or not. We started wearing them when we were children and we were young and we were being ourselves in so many ways when we're young. Being ourselves in terms of, as preschoolers, for example, we jump right in. We go to preschool and we be ourselves. We may talk too much, and our parents may tell us to don't talk so loud. You're making too much noise. Quiet. Maybe we want to sing, same thing, or maybe we like to dance, and it's the same thing. But we all go through that. Everyone, let me just mute this person here. There. And we all go through that in one way or another. And living our freeness as a preschooler kind of gets interrupted when we get into kindergarten and first grade, when we have to follow the rules to get in line to go to school, to not be ourselves as much. And we start conforming to what life is requiring of us. That happens again in our 20s when we think it's important to get the house, get the mortgage, get the kids, get the spouse. And then we get ourselves lined up in debt for a long time. And then by our 40s, we realize everything we thought life was going to be is not really what it is. We're kind of ready to let our children go off, empty nesting. We've been working long enough to know it's not what we thought it was going to be. And we're also looking at relationships, and it's not what we thought it was be. And we're realizing maybe this is not the life I want to live. And maybe it's time for a change. And it is time for a change because the world is changing. The world is changing fast. And it's changing because last month, here came coronavirus and COVID-19. So what are you doing now? We're all social distancing and we're all having to stay at home. So does that mean you're sitting on the couch and eating potato chips and pigging out, or watching Netflix and watching the programs go by? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? Have you thought of that? Maybe what you really wanted to do was have your own business and live your own life and not be stuck to the path that society kind of puts you on, because society will put you on a path, as I just mentioned. And so many of us get on that path and don't know how to get off of it. But deep inside, we have that dream. No, there's something else I want to do. I don't want to be doing this 9 to 5, going to work, going to jobs, living someone else's dream. I have a dream of my own. I want to live my own dream. You know, many of us just stay in that matrix. We've seen the movie The Matrix a long time ago without realizing sometimes we're in the matrix. Well, what about changing the matrix? Come out of the box, make your own matrix, make your own life. And in this webinar, I'm going to help you see what you can do about things, what you can do about life, what you can do about yourself in order to get out of the matrix and live a little differently. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm Norma Hollis. I'm all about authenticity. I've been studying it actually all my life. I've been devoted to it. In the process, I've written books. I was the first Black woman to have a speakers bureau for Black speakers. I speak to all size groups. And I'm really happy that I haven't really said a lot about it in the past, but I'm also a spiritual director. I became a spiritual director before I started my speakers bureau. And one of the ways I use that is doing the labyrinth. The labyrinth is a spiritual walking meditation tool. It goes back to ancient Egypt when you had to walk through labyrinths before you got into pyramids. And then it changed to the pattern that you see on the right top with the purple. And that's a labyrinth that some people think it's a maze, but actually it's one way in and one way out. And it helps you be authentic. It helps you step into yourself because it helps you slow down and think and look at the world in different ways. So I used to direct Head Start programs, my first career. Then I had my Speakers Bureau, and then I've been coaching. And I'm a transformational coach who helps people transform their lives. And that's why I'm doing this now, because I want to see people transform from the society's view of how your life should be, which we see what happens when that happens, to the view of your own life and what life has in store for you. I have actually been working from home for the last 10 years. So I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to transition my thoughts and my ideas, because a lot of it's a mindset. It's a mindset of doing things differently, of not depending on somebody else or some other organization, but depending more on yourself and allowing yourself to move yourself forward. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and help you see how you can recognize your natural gifts, your talents, your passion, your experience, your expertise, and you can use all of those to help you move out of the matrix and create a life of your own. That's what I did, and I was working with people. You can see I have a very delightful group of people I was working with. And I was teaching them and training them to be professional speakers, to share authenticity, to connect their authenticity with the program that I had, and then share it on stage. In fact, we were ready to do our program every second Saturday in March 14th. And when did everything cut down? Right around March 10th. So we missed both months. We missed March, we missed April, we're going to miss May. So I'm having to revise and re-examine how I'm doing this thing, how I'm doing this game. I already have things in place, but like all of us, we have certain gifts that we maybe haven't leveraged yet, and we haven't looked at things in a certain way. But I'm bringing you through this authenticity program, through what I'm sharing with you today, how you can take your passion, your experience, your expertise, your gifts and your talents, and turn them into a career. Turn them into something you can do to earn money using what you know, leveraging what you bring, and I will teach you how to do that and how to make money doing it at the same time. Essentially, it's time for you to reclaim your life. I mean the life that you were born to live. I believe all of us were born with a unique set of gifts and talents given to us by God to do the things that is part of our purpose, what we're here to do. I believe we're all here on the planet to do something, but we get lost in the shuffle of what is it we are supposed to do, because society puts us on some paths that it expects us to follow, and then we get caught in the matrix. I want to pull you out of the matrix and let you step into who is truly you. The you you've been thinking about and dreaming about for years, but maybe have never actually implemented. Maybe you didn't know how. Maybe it was too confusing. Maybe you have so many gifts that it's all moving around in your mind and you're not sure which path to take. Or maybe you just don't know what to do. Well, as I said, I've had to transition from a nonprofit Head Start director to a business owner. I've had to transition from a full-time check to doing it on my own, from working in an office to living independently and living and working from home, and have had success in all of those. And so I can teach you. I have the background to teach you that. So what I'm going to do today is give you information to help you get out of the matrix and help you step into yourself. I'm going to inspire and encourage you to move forward with your life and be your authentic self. And then I'm also going to show you how you can have an online business doing your thing, helping other people, leveraging the gifts and talents that you bring to the world, leveraging your experience and expertise, because it's time. It's time for you. Don't wait for the future to download. You know, there's so much conversation now. Are we going back to work in a month, in 3 months, in 18 months, or what? While we're sitting back watching TV and waiting to see what they are going to say and what they are going to do, what are you going to do? They don't hold your future in their hands. You hold your future in your hands. How are you going to move yourself forward? How are you going to move yourself to the future that is waiting for you, the future you've been born to live, but that for some reason has eluded you? Well, this great opportunity, this intervention that we're experiencing right now is an opportunity for you to step back and reevaluate, rediscover yourself, and step out with a brand new attitude, in a brand new matrix of your own doing, and a way to make money online. We're working online now. We're at home. Why not use what you have, leverage it so that you can make money? You don't have to let COVID-19 dictate what your future is going to be. You don't have to wait. And I suggest you make a move before moves get made on you, because that's what happened before back in March when we all got surprised. But let me tell you a little bit about the future of work and what you might want to be thinking about as you decide what direction you want to take. I did some research about 3 years ago on the future of work. And what I found is amazingly how fast society is moving towards artificial intelligence. In fact, what they're projecting is that within about 10 years or so, 90% of the population that works now will not have a job because they'll be taken over by artificial intelligence. You think of it, small businesses do use them, and social media, we use so many VAs for our customer service as opposed to using people as employees within our jobs, within our businesses. We have self-driving cars already. And isn't it interesting that most of the prominent professions that are suffering in this virus right now are from jobs that are basically unskilled, that are easy to get robots to replace? Isn't it also interesting that in the age of artificial intelligence, there's so much going on now, not only how we're using self-driving cars, but also how there's so many bots now that answer your phones. There's so many bots that call you. Bots is the term they use. I guess that's short for robots. But how many calls do you get from bots? There's so much going on now that's not human connection, but it's robotic connection. And in a couple decades, as I said, that's going to be the norm. But look at the jobs that they say will be coming in the future. An Android relationship counselor, someone to help humans get along with androids. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that there are so many positions now that are coming up that never even thought of before? But what's interesting about them and about the future is that there is going to be a great need for you to use your creativity. As I mentioned about the 90% of jobs that may be going, most of those are going to be the unskilled jobs. And robots don't have the creativity that humans do. So what's going to be important for you is to use your creativity. I suggest you use it to create your own job, create your own business, to carve out your own space on the planet so that you don't have to worry about the things that most society people worry about. Use your creativity and stretch your thoughts, stretch your possibilities, and get out of the matrix. I want to help you do all that. So, who's ready to go on a journey? I want to take you on a journey inside of yourself to understand more about who you are. What jobs do you think you might want to have in the future? What changes might you want to make in the future in order to be connected and not be one of those people who loses jobs altogether? You don't have to, because you can have your own business. You can leverage who you are, what you have, put it online, and open up something new of your attitude, your mind, your pocketbook, and the things that you do and how you express yourself. What I'm going to be doing today is also helping you understand the energy that flows within you. All of us have a certain energy. The human body is made up of energy. That's what allows us to move, allows us to think. So shifting your energy just a slight bit can help you shift your life. And that's what you can do, and you are in control with that. So with that in mind, let me take you on a journey inside of yourself and tell you about the authenticity grid. I know some of you on the call are familiar with my work with authenticity and have seen this grid before, and some of you know it very intimately. But for those that don't know it, this is the foundation of the work that I do. I started this grid when I was 28 years old and realized everything my parents had told me to do, I had done. I had the husband who had a good job. We had a cars. We had a beautiful house. We had all those things that I was told would be what life's about. And I was absolutely miserable. And I didn't know what to do with myself because I didn't know who I was. I was my parents' vision of who they wanted me to be. I had to step into who am I. I did not know it would take a 30-year journey. But I'm going to tell you what I've learned about in that time frame. This grid, I started at 28 with the energies that live within me, and then it just grew for me to understand it in a different way. What I understand it now is as a human energy system. It's a matrix. I call it God's matrix sometimes, but it's how we're put together as humans in a different perspective than what I've seen other people give. So I want to explain this a little bit to you so you have a deeper understanding of these dimensions, because when I found out at 28 is that I have three voices within me. And we all have these voices. I did some research on it and found that all of us have these voices. We have an inner voice, which you see here. This is the inner voice, which is this whole group down here, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. We have an outer voice, which is the middle group. The outer voice is how people perceive us. When we walk in a room, they make an impression about us. And we have an expressive voice, which is who we have become in the world. And all of those grew into, by understanding them as the authenticity grid and the energy system that lives within all of us. So let me talk first about, oops, hang on a minute. I got to get rid of this drawing tool here. There we go. So let me talk first about the inner voice. Inner voice. The inner voice is the voice that no one hears but you. It's the voice that connects you with your authenticity. It's the voice connecting you with your source. And there's three dimensions to the inner voice. First is intuition. Intuition is listening to and following your inner voice. Are you listening to the voice within you? Do you know when that voice speaks with you? I'm going to give you a lesson on the inner voice, on intuition, shortly when I finish this brief overview of the grid itself. So I'm not going to go into intuition deeply right now, but I'll share more shortly. Integrity is the second dimension of the inner voice, and that's obtaining and following a belief system. What does your value system communicate to those who are listening and watching you? It's really important that you know what your values are. Your values dictate your decisions in life. They dictate who you are and how you're living your life. And you want to be clear on those. And in the authenticity program, we help you to know that. How does integrity relate to what you've been doing in the past? How can you leverage the concept of integrity in what you want to do in the future? Inspiration is the third dimension of the inner voice, and inspiration is your personal internal and external drive. What drives you? The inner voice of inspiration or the outer voice of motivation? You know, motivation is when we're motivated, we are reacting to something. When we're inspired, we're acting on something. And what you want to do is you want to always be acting in action and not wait for a reaction. Right now with the crisis, we are all reacting. Those people who had things in place before are going into action. So where are you? And where do you want to be in the future? I'm assuming you would always want to be in action and not in reaction. You get out of the matrix when you take action to be out of the matrix. When you're in the matrix, you react to what's happening to you. So the inner voice is a very important voice. It's where authenticity begins. And it's important that you connect with your inner voice. People who do not connect with their inner voice have challenges in life because they don't have empathy. They don't understand other people. They can't go within that well. They're not very reflective. And actually getting out of the matrix means allowing your inner voice to guide you out of the matrix. And I will help you with that. The next voice is the outer voice. The outer voice is the voice that people assume of you when they meet you. It's what you put in front of society. It's the dimensions are net wellness. Net wellness relates to your holistic wellness and balance. And how do your thoughts on various aspects show up in your life? So that's basically your things such as your medical, your dental, your physical, your exercise, your nutrition, what you're eating. How are you putting all that together as a net in the wellness area and using it together in such a way that it's allowing you to be as healthy? What we want for net wellness is longevity and energy. Unfortunately, the people who passed most in terms of this current virus issue were people who were not strong on net wellness. What they're saying is that these are people who were compromised in some way. So in this area, when we teach that, and when you teach it, you teach people how to have wellness, what to eat right, how to live right, how to think right, how to be right, so that they have their health. The next dimension there is network. And network refers to your quality and quantity relationships. Quality means people who know you well. They know you so well, they know how you smell, and they still like you. And you want people in your life like that because they're going to be honest with you. Your quantity refers to people outside, people general that you might meet who are not your best friends, but who you can call if you might need something. You might be in a new area, you need someone to fix your shoes, and you call a quantity person to get a referral. Now, quantity people often turn into quality people, but you need both in your life. So what do your associations say about you? The next dimension of outer voice is net wealth, which is abundance and joy. So how do you display your signs of wealth? Most people look at net wealth as money. That's what we're taught in society, that net wealth is nothing but money. But I would like to go out of the matrix and say that in this energy grid, net wealth refers to the joy and the abundance that is in your life. What is your joy and abundance, and how do you display it? It's not all about money. So when your inner voice and outer voice give the same message, that's when you're really authentic. It enhances your authenticity. Sometimes people's inner and outer are not aligned, and that's why they may be a little confusing to us. But when they're aligned, that's when you're more authentic. And then the third voice is the expressive voice. The expressive voice is who you have become and how you live your life. The first dimension is legacy, recognizing your natural gifts and talents. What are your gifts and talents? In that area, we look at your physical gifts, your body is a gift, your spiritual gifts, and your wisdom gifts. There's 9 wisdom gifts that were identified by Dr. Howard Gardner about 50 years ago. And we look at those, we examine those deeply. And matter of fact, when you start the program, the first thing that I do on our first session is find out what are your gifts and talents, because then I know how to best work with you. The second dimension is likability. Likability is your personality, how you show up in the world. What does the person you expose to the world say to the world about who you are? What's your personality? Do you put your best person forward as often as possible? Or do you just let them see the raw you all the time? We all have multiple personalities, and it's not that we're sibyls or not that we're crazy, but certainly you don't talk to your child the same way you talk to your mother, the same way you talk to your boss, the same way you talk to your lover. We all have different ways of expressing ourselves based on the environment. And then the final dimension is lifestyle. And lifestyle refers to your day-to-day activities, how you are living your life. Are your habits conducive to who you are and who you want to be in the world? That's lifestyle. And essentially what we ask, and what I ask you to do when we finish with authenticity with the grid, is to find one thing to tweak. So if you look at the grid as a whole, you can find one dimension where you can tweak one thing. And essentially that can transform your life. When you learn to deliver this as an online Reclaim Your Life facilitator, you will learn to give the authenticity assessment and help people look at their strengths and their vulnerabilities and how they can strengthen them. And then they can become more authentic and create the life that they want. I want to show you one more thing about the authenticity grid, And that's the words that are on the side, which are think, communicate, do. The left side of the grid has think, communicate, do, because the entire first row is all think. And those in the think category, because those are things you're given at birth. You're given an intuitive sixth sense. How do you develop it? You're given DNA. How do you protect it? You're given gifts and talents. How do you use them? The second row is communicate, how you show up in the world. People get to know who you are by the values that you express, by the people that you're around, and the personality that you share. And the third level is the do, the action, because nothing gets done if you're not inspired. Nothing gets done if you don't put joy and abundance in your life and look at how that brings you wealth. And nothing gets done if you don't have habits and a lifestyle that supports you. So that is the overview of the authenticity grid. And I hope that in bringing that to you, you can see some possibilities. You can see yourself a little differently. You can be thinking about where your strengths are. You may be wondering, I want to take that assessment. I want to know where I would fall. And that is what it's all about. Connecting with getting into the inside of you and being clear on who it is you are, but more important, who it is you were born to be and how you're going to make that happen. So I want to encourage you to think about how you're going to make that happen. How would you feel if you had a place for your passion? If you had a place to take your career and create something of it? How would it feel if you birthed a movement? If you created something that brought great joy and light into your life and made you feel very happy? How would you feel if your life path led you to what it is you're supposed to do? How would you feel if you transformed the fear and the anxiety that's going on right now to a positive platform to be an influencer where people will be looking to you for some suggestions and some answers? If you're looking for growth yourself, if you want to help others, if you have a compassionate heart, if you want some guidance and a network of people to engage with, then stay with me. I'm going to start the advanced training and tell you more about intuition. Intuition. Intuition is, again, the depths of what happens inside of you, how you're listening to the voice that speaks from within. And not only how you're listening to it, but how you are trusting and responding to it. So this information is taken from the very first module of my program that I will be teaching to those of you that decide to go deeper and want to teach this yourself. And there are several elements of it. The first element is self-talk and self-response, because all the time we're talking to ourselves. I remember when I first became aware of self-talk and self-response, I was working for a training company and I was delivering 90-minute presentations. There were two of us delivering. And I made the decision that when I delivered at one particular time, I was going to remember to the best of my ability what I said to myself in between my speaking. Now, I don't advise this for everyone because it can take you totally off your game. But I was able to accomplish it. And when I finished my 90 minutes of presentation, I got a piece of paper and immediately wrote down everything I remember myself saying. And that evening when I got into my room, I pulled out that piece of paper and looked at it. I was so shocked because of 30 things on my list, all but one of them were negative. I was saying things like, oh, you could have done that better. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. You should have said that this way. You didn't answer him right. I was so shocked. I did not know. And then I made a deliberate effort to turn everything that I said negative into a positive statement. And that gradually, as I said, tweak one thing at a time. By tweaking that one thing over time, it took several months, took a year. I just found myself more positive. All of us have self-talk that goes back to our childhood when our parents told us, don't sing so loud, don't talk so loud, don't make so much noise on the drum. And those things stay with us. It takes a long time. What I learned in preschool, in my preschool training, is that when we tell children no, no, no all the time, it takes 4 yeses to counterbalance every no. That's a lot of yeses we have to tell our children. and a lot we got to tell ourselves. So I give you permission to tell yourself yes as often as possible to bypass all those no's you've been hearing all your life. So that's self-talk and self-response. The next thing I want to tell you about is how you talk to yourself, because we all talk to ourselves, and it's realizing how to listen to yourself that's important. So think about when you say to yourself, what am I going to wear today? Or what time is it? Or what am I going to eat? Think about how you get the answer. I've never known anyone to come out the house naked. So you get the answer of what to put on, right? You all came to this webinar on time, so you know how to go to the clock and say what time is it and get an answer. I see all of you are healthy, so I know you can find something to eat. So you get answers every time you say, what shall I wear? What time is it? What shall I eat? So what I advise you to do is look at how the answer comes to you. Does it come as a thought, as a feeling, as a memory? I know I have a memory of when I first lost 30 pounds. Well, first, I did it once. When I lost 30 pounds, and then I went to buy my first outfit. And I found this beautiful St. John orange outfit in the resale shop, and I bought it right away. It was a size 8. I was so proud of that. I felt so fabulous. I still have that suit, and it's over 20 years old. I won't get rid of it because I love it just that much. And even though the jacket is a bit tattered and I know it's old, I still wear it with a pair of jeans any day, all day long. And every time I put it on, I get that same feeling I felt when I first bought it. So I know that when I get that kind of feeling in my life, that's my voice speaking to me. That's a reminder of this is how you feel when it's all right, when it's all good in the neighborhood. That's how you're feeling. So how does your voice speak to you? Is it a thought, a memory? Is it a taste in your mouth? Is it a rolling through the rushes, as Shaka Khan would say? Is it in your arms? Is it in your gut? How does your voice speak to you? When I was 8 years old, I started speaking to my voice, or I should say my voice started speaking to me. When I was 8, I had a challenge because I developed a hole in my eardrum, and that had infections. And the only way that it was helped was through a solution that they had to put in my ear that felt like acid on the inside of my head. It was extremely painful. And the adults in my life didn't get it. They didn't know how to support me. So I'm walking to school one day and the voice starts speaking to me. And I'm looking around, what is that? And I knew about spirituality and God and those kind of things. And so I said to the voice, okay, if you're the voice I should be listening to, prove it to me. And in the next week, let someone show up with red socks. And let someone else mention the word elephant. And if that happens, maybe I'll believe you. Well, much to my surprise, it happened. And then I gave it a few more tests the next 3 weeks, and it happened again and again and again. And the voice then said to me, well, do you believe me now? And I said, yeah, I guess I do. And I've been in communication with that voice ever since. We have a wonderful relationship. That voice is my best friend. It keeps me company when I'm sitting at home alone. People say they're going star crazy. Not me. I have a voice to speak to, and we have a great relationship. And that voice has been on this continuous journey. And you know, part of getting out of the matrix, part of leveraging your business and doing something different in your life is recognizing the confirmations that come to confirm to you that you're doing what you were on the planet to do. And I had the most dynamic confirmation just this past June. I was given a gift about 7 years ago. And those that know me know that I always wear orange. And the gift he gave me was an orange elephant with red socks. So with orange, with elephant, and with red socks, that was a confirmation that came 60 years later that gave me great confirmation that I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. What confirmations do you get? Do you pay attention to them? How have you connected with your voice? Do you listen to your voice? Does your voice talk to you? Do you trust it? Very, very important. Another way that the intuition works is through the universe. The universe is always speaking to you. You may not agree, but sometimes when you might say, I knew I should have, and maybe you didn't, or when your voice is giving you confused, but your voice will give you direction all the time. So you know what you need to be saying. Hang on a minute, let me just mute this person. If you're not muted, please mute yourself. Your voice is always speaking to you, and you want to listen to your voice all the time, all the time. Listen to your voice. Now, I listen to my voice in a very unusual way, and it happened to show up, and I had to learn to interpret it. And it has to do with the letter L. So when I first started my speakers bureau about 20 years ago, it was amazing to me. I realized after the first couple of months that every employee that I hired, their name started with L. My landlord was Linda. My first employee was Lillian. Then there was Lakeisha and Latasha and a bunch of other L's. And then I had two girls that were interns one summer, one from Chicago, one from San Francisco. And both of them lived on Linden Street, another L. And then my coach, the coach for the company, Tracy Carruthers, lives on the corner of Linden Street. It just kept L, 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 L. So I finally had to stop and say, wait, what does L mean? So L is the number 3, and it refers to throat. And what is throat is where speakers speak through their throat. So we saw that as confirmation we were doing the right thing and to keep doing it. And then there were many, many other things that came up very similarly with that letter L. So how are you getting confirmations and how are you interpreting them? We talk about that quite a bit in the authenticity program and in the online training program. Next thing I want you to think about is, what are the threads in your life? What things keep recurring and showing up? One of the important things that I work with you when you join the program is to help you find what is your message. How do we take your gifts, your talents, your passion, your experience, your expertise, and leverage those for a message for you to share with the world? And I do that by looking at the threads in your life. What keeps recurring? What keeps showing up? What keeps nudging you? What keeps knocking from the inside for you? If you're not sure what it is, then I want you to try this exercise. Draw a horizontal line on a piece of paper. On the left side, put the number 0. And on the far right side, put your current age. And then break up that line into 5-year segments. And then when we get off the call and you get some time, on the top of that line, write all the great things that have happened in your life that you can think of. And you can take a week or so to do that. Don't try to do it all at once, although maybe you can. And just jot them down around the age that they occurred. And then think of all the negative things that happened in your life. And then write those down under the line in the times that it happened in your life. And that will give you an opportunity to look at your life in a different way. And after you feel like you've got everything out, whether it's a day, a week, or a month, whatever, take a look at your list and see if you can see what are the things that keep showing up, whether they show up positively or negatively. What keeps showing up? I know for me, I had to have a coach to tell me that my brand and my thing is authenticity. Because all my life, I've wondered, how come people don't? How come society's like this? How come it's not being real? How come that person is lying? How come? And when the person told me that, I said, that works, because I can talk about raising authentic children from my first career. I can talk about being authentic speakers when I owned the bureau. I can talk about transforming your life to be more authentic. So clearly that was my way out of the matrix. What's your path out of the matrix? What energy do you have to share? How will you share it? And then the next thing I want to tell you about is frequency and vibration. Frequency and vibration. So listening to your inner voice is a way that you can raise your frequency and raise your vibration. Why do you want to? And what is a frequency and vibration? Well, vibration is your connection to source, your connection to God. And what you want to do is you want to raise that vibration so that you can be more aligned with the messages coming into your inner voice. Now, how do you raise your vibration? You raise your vibration by meditating, taking time out of your day to sit still and be quiet and listen. Listen to what spirit is saying to you. Listen to what your voice is saying to you, and then act on it. That's going to help you to raise your intuitive nature while you're raising your vibration. So what is frequency? Frequency would be the horizontal line, and frequency has to do with raising your law of attraction, bringing people to you. And you need that. If you're going to be in business, you need to be able to draw people to you. That's very important. And, you know, in our society now, frequency relates a lot to consciousness, how conscious and aware a person is. The problem we have in our society now, in my opinion, is that so many people are very low consciousness. Their consciousness is low. They're in level 1. And level 1 means they're in fear, they're in anxiety, they're in doubt, they're in desire and greed. They're in some things that don't necessarily move for the benefit of the society. They're in the matrix at that first level. And if you tell them some of the things I'm telling you now, they get scared, they don't believe it, it's too wooey-wooey for them, they don't get it. But they're the very people who could really benefit by raising their frequency. And we all can raise our frequency, and you can do that today. And what you do to raise your frequency is you raise your gratitude. You take time and write down what you're grateful for. So, for example, every night, find 20 things to be thankful for and write them down. And then take one day and just take an hour and just let it spill out whatever happens. So if I want to think about what I'm grateful for, I can, you know, you can do it real quickly. It could be little things. I'm grateful that the sun is shining. I'm grateful I woke up today. I'm grateful that my voice is working. I'm grateful that I found a way to make my webinar, even though my computer started freezing. I'm grateful that people are on the webinar. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I can just go on and on. Little things, big things, doesn't matter. But as you become more grateful and become more aware of what you're grateful for, the negative stuff goes away. The consciousness raises, and you move more into a positive life, leveraging what you have to offer into a life that's going to make a difference for you, into a life that could clearly be an online business with you working at home, being very happy, not dealing with the traffic, not dealing with the crazies, not worried about what someone else is going to do, what they are going to do, and only concerned about what you are going to do to make your life better. So the last thing I want to share with you about intuition is the difference between your inner voice and your ego. Because that's a problem too. Most people in level 1 of the consciousness level, they're living in ego. They don't even connect with their inner voice whatsoever. So connecting with your inner voice is what you want to do. Now, the difference is that your inner voice always wants you to be the person you were born to be. Your inner voice is always guiding you to be that person, to be who God wants you to be. While your ego is always pushing you to do what society wants. Buy the bigger car, get a new house, buy that dress, get those pretty nails. Oh, I love that wig. All those things that that will make you look better. The ego sees you looking better. The inner voice wants you to be better and to feel better. And that's kind of the difference. So learning that difference, because you want to respond, when I talked about listening to how your voice speaks to you and responding, you want to be sure you're responding to the inner voice, not the voice of ego. The voice of ego leads you down a path that makes challenges like this, unexpected challenges, extremely challenging because you weren't listening. Because I would bet that every one of you, to some degree, had some clue that this was happening, that this virus was happening, that we were all going to be on lockdown. It might not have been an obvious message to you, but maybe your voice said to you, well, you know, you got a little extra money, why don't you buy extra groceries this week? And you didn't do it. Or your voice said to you, you know, you should put that money in the bank. You didn't do it. Or the voice said, you know, you're out of toilet paper, you need to go buy some. And you didn't do it. Because your voice is always looking out for your best need. It's an unseen supporter that we cannot always access. Those voices know more than we do. They're in an energy field that they can feel and respond to, and they try to nudge you. But if you're blind to it, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to respond to it. So you want to be able to be so connected to your inner voice, your intuitive voice, that you know when it's talking to you, you know how to trust it, and you know what to do about it. So when I teach you about authenticity and certify you, you learn how to give the authenticity assessment. This is the first question of the assessment. There are just 9 easy questions. And I want you to look at this question and answer it. The definition of intuition is the degree to which you listen to and follow your inner voice. The question is, are you listening and responding to the quiet voice within you? So you're going to score yourself a 1 to 3 if your answer is, I didn't know I had a voice within. You're answering from the degree to which you've integrated this concept in your life. Answer 4 to 7 if I found it and I'm beginning to access it. And score yourself 8 to 10 if I allow my inner voice to lead and guide me. So just give yourself a score. And when you learn to deliver this will be part of your online curriculum that I would teach you to do. You're actually going to ask 9 questions. There's a question for each one of these dimensions. The questions are on there. It's just a different format than you see them in the actual questions themselves. But this is the foundation of the program, this authenticity grid. You will learn to understand it, to administer it, to interpret it, to help people use it as a self-coaching tool and use it as a tool for yourself, to even coach yourself. It's a dynamic tool that was given to me, and I had no idea what it was or the value of it and the strength of it until I got through it. And I want to teach it to you. It was a gift to me, and it's a gift that I want to share with the world. And that's why I especially would like to have you with us so that you can help share this with the world from your perspective. You know, authenticity and intuition are important for a lot of people. Oprah talks about to be authentic is the highest form of praise. You're fulfilling your mission and purpose on earth when you honor the real you. That's what I want you to do. Honor the real you. Be authentic and help others to do the same. Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. So if you're scared about what's going on right now, stop watching TV and come join me. Come join me. Do you like what you hear? Is this right for you? Are you ready to pivot your possibilities? I want to teach you how to generate income from your home. Imagine making money from your home and doing it online and helping others, leveraging who you are and what you have to offer and making the world a better place while earning income. It can happen for you. It happened for me. This is a serious, dedicated training program about how to ethically transform your life, become an influencer, and start to generate income using this carefully crafted and tested system. So I'm assuming that you have or are willing to discover a passion, a message, or skill that you want to share with the world and turn into a profitable business. So if you're ready to learn how, raise your hand, please. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this training program is an 8-week program. It's going to be 8 weeks straight, starting on April the 30th. It's about 2 weeks. It's going to raise your confidence and raise your self-esteem. It's going to inspire your passion. I'm going to pull your passion out of you. If you're not sure what your passion is, I'll help you find it. It's going to provide a way for you to make a difference in the world and show you how you can make money. Because I'm going to certify you to teach the Reclaim Your Life program as an online facilitator. You're going to learn all about the grill and all about the grid and how to understand it, how to administer it, and how to interpret it. And you're also going to learn how to deliver the online assessment. the authenticity assessment, to help people take the assessment and get into their own life. You're also going to have access to the online school. Every one of those 9 dimensions that are in the grid, every one of them, there's a class for them. So once you meet with someone and they know where their area of vulnerability is, you can then refer them to the class that's already done and it's online. And you get a commission every time you sell one of the courses. The courses are priced at $97. But you know what? You can create your own price, and that would be just fine. Because you're going to create the program for the audience and the target market that works for you. Maybe your market can't pay $97. You want to charge less. It's totally fine. I will help you decide what your price point is and also how to sell it. So let me just give you a little more detail about what the program includes. It includes weekly calls. Right now, I have calls every Tuesday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time. Some of you that are on the call now are on those calls. You would be a part of this. This call is a generic call for anyone that's in my programs that wants to go further. And on these calls, we talk about authenticity. We talk about the dimensions. We talk about applying them into our life, and we take it deeper. On these calls, I always bring in what's going on currently in the world and what's going on in my life. We have a call tonight, for example, and I'm going to be talking about some of the new revelations that I have about the grid. So the grid is a living instrument that I'm always being fed about what it means. And working with people also feeds me what it means. So what it means and how I'm growing, I share on Tuesdays with everyone that's on the call. But now when you're in the program, you get a specialized call, a 3-hour call for 8 Thursdays in a row. That's your basic training process and basic training program. And these are from 4 to 7 Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern. The groups are no more than 15 people because I want to have personal time with each of you. You're going to learn in the groups how to understand, administer, and interpret the grid. You're going to learn how to facilitate classes using the grid as a foundation. There'll be some training on your speaking to make sure that you're articulate and not camera shy, and how to look your best on camera. The classes, I'm going to help you tailor classes to your passion, your experience, your expertise, your gifts, and your talents. I'm going to help you set up and market your business and run a business online. And I'm also going to give you some scripts of my previous classes so you have something to start with. So you know exactly what to say, how to arrange them, and then you can build them from there. So you'll have everything that you need to get started. Some of the people that I've worked with already, Marie, if when you read the landing page to get here, you met Marie. And Marie is taking the grid and using it as a coach to help people who have been in domestic abuse to find their dream and be real with their life. Likewise, Rachel is also going through the program, and she's gearing up to work with single mothers. She's at home with 4 boys. And so she's an accountant with her own business. And what she wants to do is help single mothers have their own business. And particularly while they're at home teaching their children. And she's doing all of that. She's got 3 to teach who are in different grades. She's running her business and getting over challenges that she's been through in life and doing a great job with it and moving herself forward based on authenticity as a foundation and leveraging what she brings, her accounting skills, her business skills, to make it work. So this is all a part of transferring information from our heads to yours. I'm going to start by transferring mine from my mind to yours. I'm going to work with you the first 5 weeks. The first week is introduction. We meet everybody. I hear your stories. I give you 3 assessments because I want to know more deeply who you are. I want to know your gifts and talents. I want to know your values, and I want you to take the authenticity assessment. That's what gives me the foundation of knowing someone, and I'll teach you how to administer those as well. Maybe you don't know yet what your topic might be, but I got your back on that because that's one of my greatest skills is to pull that out of you. When I talk with you, I will be able to work with knowing who you are. When I take your assessments and see that, I can narrow down and talk to you and give you some things to think about that would be your topic, your area of interest, and how you would position yourself as an online trainer, online facilitator. And you have all the elements that you'll need to use this proven system. This system I've been using now for, maybe it's been about 20 years now. I started around 2000 and not quite 20, 2003 is when I started doing my first webinars on this program after I finished writing it. And so it's a proven system. It has a structure, it has elements to it, and I'm always adding elements. So you'll always have more elements as we grow. Now I'm bringing in some of my network people. This is Krystal Mitchell, and Krystal will teach you about being an entrepreneur, what structure is going to be best for you for your business, how to do an online business. She'll be spending week 6 with you, talking to you about your business, how to structure it, and how to make it work. She's also an accountant, so she'll also teach you how to manage your money, how to make sure you're going to have the best possible success. I'm also bringing on Karla. Karla Cherry is my personal marketing coach, and we share the same birthday, so we get along very well. And so if you and I get along, you'll get along with her as well. But she has the other side of me, which is the online marketing side. And she's been extremely helpful for me growing my business. And so she's going to spend 3 hours with you on week 7, helping you with marketing. So you'll know how to jumpstart your marketing effort, because no matter how good your program is, if you can't market it, it's not going anywhere. And then Linda, many of you know Linda. Linda's been with me for 15 years. And Linda's expertise is website design. So if you don't have a website, she will do a website for you, because you will need a website in order to be successful and pull people to you. Now, my role, in addition to the first 5 weeks of teaching you about authenticity, is I'm going to teach you about you. I'm going to help you. This is going to be the 6th week that you and I will have a one-on-one with each of the people that are in the program. And in that one-on-one, I'm going to be pulling out more about who you are and what your business is. My one-on-one will be before you meet with Krystal. By the time you meet with Krystal in week 6, you will pretty much know the direction you're going. And we'll know that by our group time together every Thursday for 3 hours. And then for idea exchange, we'll have a Facebook group. And people will, on the Facebook group, they'll like your stuff. They'll go on your website, on your Facebook page, will like each other's stuff. You guys can communicate. And we can use the Facebook group to continue to communicate after you've started, to make sure you're never alone. So that now I'm not going to just get you started and let you go and say good luck and God be with you. I'm going to be around to make sure that you're successful. I want you successful. I want you helping people. I want you leveraging your gifts and talents. I want you helping the world become more authentic. So at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, ooh, I love this. I want to do this. I like it. It's really great. I've been looking for something to let me do something with what I have and work at home and make some money and really be myself. But can I afford it? What does it cost? I know that's what you're asking. So I'm going to tell you the value. This is not going to be the full price, but I want you to know the value of what it is. The Tuesday calls are rated at about $297, $298. You'll have some months of calls and you're entitled to take part in those. The Thursday calls are about $2,200. That's the low end of Thursday calls. The one-on-one, my 90-minute calls, and that's a 90-minute call, are priced at $750. And then the Authenticity U, which you have access to for a year, is $997. So the total there, the total value is $4,245. But that's not what I'm going to be charging you. And I'll tell you what I am charging you very shortly. But I want you first to look at these wonderful testimonials that I've had. Jessie on the top was a student that I worked with. I think I taught classes in China, and Jessie was one of the students in the classes. Denise is a gardener, and what she wanted to do is work with people's inner garden. And in our first call, I helped her to realize that she's an inner garden coach. She couldn't see that's what she was saying, but that's why people need a mentor or a coach to help them with that. Matthew couldn't believe, and he's a Northrop Grumman, so you know that's a more structured role he's playing. He was surprised at how accurately the assessment reflected his personality. And Michael, a speaker, was like many speakers, all over the map and didn't know where to go. And I helped him pull that together for his message. And then Vernon is a little older person, and he realized how important self-awareness is to him. and having a guideline like this was so important. People need this now. Everywhere I go, I hear people talk about being your authentic self. Take this pause to be you. Now, Patricia Brown was a corporate executive in Toronto. She was already a coach. She was missing authenticity in her coaching, and she wasn't quite sure how to deliver that. She wasn't landing just right in her coaching. Having been in the corporate world, she had kind of adjusted her values and her life to what the corporate wanted her to be and do, and not what she wanted to be and do. So she needed the ability to know how to deliver herself better. And that's what she got from my team and myself by working with us. Now, in addition to the training that I mentioned, you're going to get some bonuses. The first bonus is you're going to be able to select 2 of my 12 audio series. So I want to give you some examples of how you can take the basic authenticity process and integrate it into whatever you do. So I have the same basic system that I have done as a general way that I've explained to you today, but I also have a 12 audio series that takes it and focuses on raising authentic children. And you can see how that's modified. I also have one about becoming an authentic speaker. You can see how that's modified. Same information, different focus. And I also have one about living with joy. So whatever your topic is, whatever we decide you're going to speak on, we can modify your program very similarly. Now, if you pay in full, you're going to get a 90-minute, the top one is an error. You're going to get a 90-minute one-on-one with me before we start. So we can begin strategizing right away. I'm going to give you a mini roadmap so you know exactly what to do. So by the time we start in April, you're raring to go. If you pay a 50% deposit, I'll give you a 45-minute one-on-one coaching experience so you can jumpstart, and it's a strategy call. So you can strategize just how to move forward. And don't forget, I'm only going to have 15 people in this program. So if you're ready, I suggest you take action. I told you being inspired is taking action. Motivation is reaction. So the price that I'm going to be offering you is a lot less than what I showed you. So again, come on along and join. And the price that I have, let me recap first. So the Tuesday calls, the Thursday calls for 3 hours training, the entrepreneurial training, the marketing training, the website, the one-on-one coaching, online to the school, access to the school, products to sell, and the Facebook group. Transform your life, start your own business, be part of a network of change agents, make a difference in the lives of others, heal from the challenges emerging since the virus, and help others to heal. Raise your self-confidence, your self-awareness, raise your consciousness, your vibration, get a new lease of life in just 8 short weeks. So I'm offering to you my coronavirus COVID-19 special, which I will probably never ever do it this low again, from $42.45 to $8.49. And those of you that are on the call today, to me, are the special ones, because I only offer this to the people first who are on my email list and the people who know me and have a relationship with me. And those are the ones that I'm willing to share this at the lowest possible price. Now, if you have a website already and don't need a website, you can save $200 more and only $649. And if you remember back in the prices, my 90-minute one-on-one is $750. So you're getting extreme value from this. And as I mentioned, I'll probably never offer it again at this price. If you do the deposit, 50%, $400 value, you get a 45-minute one-on-one before April 30th. If you do the 100%, you get a 90-minute. The more time you spend, the more clearly you can move yourself forward faster. So you can secure your space with the non-refundable deposit of $100. If you decide to go the payment route, then it's $250 a month, April 30th, May 30th, and June 30th. 100 down and then $250 a month. If you do the $649, if you already have a website, then you're only paying the $185 a month. So I broke it down as low as I could possibly make it in order to make it attractive to you, my first group that I'm offering this to, and the group that's part of my email group and that I have a relationship with. So I encourage you to take part in it. So what you need to do, go to meetwithnorma.com. When you go there, there's an application. Complete the application and set up an appointment. I suggest set up the appointment this week. I'm taking appointments as early as tomorrow. Your appointment needs to be done before April 30th, whether you want to do the half or full payment and get the one-on-one or just the $100. I'm going to be doing this webinar on a weekly basis, period. So next week is going to go again. The price will probably be a little bit higher. So I encourage you to join in now with the price that I have to offer now. You'll make your payment when we talk. And when we talk, you'll have filled the application in and set up an appointment, and then we'll have our one-on-one conversation. The conversation will come whether or not you're paying the half or the full amount. We still have a conversation because I need to know who you are and what your goals are. I want to make sure I can help you before I take your money. So I need to talk with you as an enrollment process. So go to Meet with Norma, do the application, set up the appointment, and we'll have a conversation. So let me ask you now, are there any questions? I can unmute everyone and you can just speak up, and any questions you might have. Oops. I think, there we go. Unmute yourself. If I haven't unmuted you, unmute yourself then. New to this system, so I am learning how to make it work right, and I'm not unmuting. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, or raise your hand.
Miss Norma?
Yes.
This is Carmelita. How are you?
I'm fine, Carmelita. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to say thank you for the seminar today. And I did want to ask a quick question around authenticity. I heard you say, that's the push with authenticity, is to show up authentically as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as good as that sounds, a lot of times that's not acceptable. So meaning society does not know how to accept people like that, in my opinion. Or maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's been my experience. So just wanted to hear your take on that.
Society experience, most of society is on the lower level of consciousness. And they don't know that they're not being authentic. All they're doing is following what society is telling them to do, period. And they're not really thinking for themselves. That's why this coronavirus piece, for one reason, it's so many perspectives going on, and some people don't want to hear anything, and some are closed mouth and whatever. But you have to decide. Being authentic is not always easy because you have to step outside of the matrix. The matrix will keep you in one mind and not help you become more critical thinking and being more creative thinking. It'll keep you in one step. So I would say if you want to be authentic, you have to recognize that you're not following society's edicts, you're following your own. You're following what your voice is telling you. You're stepping out of what the matrix says, and you're being more true to yourself. That makes sense to you, Carmelita?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Don't be afraid to be authentic. The rewards are great. My big reward was that orange elephant with the red socks, 60 years after I made the comment. If that's not confirmation and making me feel good, I don't know what is. Other questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Kathleen, can you unmute yourself?
All right. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Kathleen.
Hi.
Yes, good to see you.
Yes. I have an existing website. How would I integrate this program into it?
That would be, what's your website on your artwork?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you could have a link. You have a web designer, right?
Yes.
So what we would look at with you, we would look at is how does your fine art work and what other work that you do align with authenticity. So what we want to do is we want to find an angle that connects with the work that you do now with your fine art. And then you'd have a link on your, you'd add a page to your website, and on your page, you'd add a link to that page.
Okay,
That would be how
gotcha.
you would do it. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Questions? You can unmute yourself, Kathleen. Other questions? Want to remind you? Yes, go ahead. Who's speaking? Let me hear things. So, meetwithnorma.com is where you want to go to get started and to fill out the application and set up an appointment. And I'll be looking forward to it. I want to help you all get out of the matrix and create your own matrix. Leverage what you've done so far while you're in the matrix to what you can do outside and help people who are out there who are disgruntled, who are confused, who are not sure what to do with themselves. You can help them. You can help them in the area of your expertise and your experience, your gifts and talents, and what you bring to the table. So let's go do it. Let's just do the darn thing. I'd be glad to have you and look forward to seeing you. Last chance. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, what's that? I keep thinking I'm hearing something. Maybe I hear my own voice. All right. Thank you again. Bonita,
Yes.
were you saying something? Somebody's saying something. I'm not hearing it.
No, that wasn't me, but you know what? I'm glad that you of the presentation because I'm extremely interested in it because of my background, my master's in marriage and family therapy, and also how I am preparing myself to start school in September for my doctorate. So I'm really excited because the part that I am really interested in is the intuition, where you're talking about being authentic, and that means that from what you have taught us about being transparent. And a lot of times, I know for me, it was very hard for me to be transparent. And what do I mean by that? To be able to tell my story. Because I was people were so busy judging me on my story instead of, am I supporting her? Am I encouraging her? You know, you get all these mixed signals. So I'm really glad and excited about what you had stated earlier in your presentation and how you broke it down for us to be able to see the model that you have designed and developed. And you're implementing it and you want to share with the world. So I'm real excited. And so I know I'll be filling out my form. So, so I just can't wait.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Bonita. I'm so glad that we're connected again, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I've enjoyed working with you so far and look forward to the next round. So I'm excited also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm hearing my own stuff. I'm echoing. So, all right. I say thank you so much, everybody, for being on the call. And again, if you have any friends that you think might be interested, I'll be doing the call again next week, looking for more people, and till we get our 15, and then we'll go forward from there. So thank you. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you. Okay.
All righty.